It's been said that there is a need in every generation to study the past, to absorb its spirit, to preserve its messages. This quote most certainly speaks to the spirit of Margaret L. Wendt, a true pioneer in philanthropy whose legacy of charitable work is directly responsible for protecting and advancing many of Western New York's most important historic and cultural institutions. A native of Buffalo, New York, Margaret was born in 1885 to William Franz Wendt, owner and operator of the successful Buffalo Forge Company and the former Mary Guy's. The Wendt family lived on an Olmsted Greenway, Richmond Avenue, not far away from where we honor her this evening at Kleinen's. Her early life included attendance at the finest schools, carriage rides with her family, and summers at the family's horse farm in Lockport, New York. As an adult, Margaret lived what many might consider a quiet and very private life, considering her station in life. However, beneath the quiet smile and caring eyes was a woman committed to charity. It began with random acts of kindness, but with help and guidance from Reverend Ralph Lowe in the late 1940s, her philanthropy would blossom into a multi-million-dollar fund, culminating with the establishment of the Margaret L. Wendt Foundation in 1957. From the very beginning, Margaret stressed her desire to her trustees, Reverend Lowe, William Morey, and Samuel Lunt, that the money be used primarily in Western New York. And it was. Margaret passed away in 1972, and upon her death, the majority of her estate was willed to the foundation. Today, Margaret L. Wendt's legacy lives on as it continues to use every possible means to invest in this community. As a result, some of Western New York's most important historic and cultural institutions have been saved at a time when they could have been lost or greatly diminished. Among them, the Darwin Martin House, considered perhaps Frank Lloyd Wright's greatest prairie-style house. The home itself was part of a larger urban estate that included a conservatory, carriage house, and pergola. Other than the Main and Barton houses, all of these structures had been demolished by 1962. Since that time, slightly more than $2 million in grants from the Wendt Foundation have been directed to not only the restoration of the Darwin Martin House, but to the acquisition of important features once located in the home, and for the reconstruction of those lost buildings once part of the larger complex. As a result, this national landmark has been reborn and is now considered a major heritage tourism attraction, drawing guests from around the world. Another fine example of the Foundation's impact on Western New York can be seen at Buffalo's landmark Shays Performing Arts Center. In 2001, the center was on the verge of bankruptcy. The Margaret L. Wendt Foundation recognized the value of keeping this historic theater open and has subsequently supported numerous restorations and improvements at the theater, including a $1 million grant to replace all the worn and damaged seating, and most recently, to join other funders to finance the cost of the installation of a new HVAC system. Another downtown area that has benefited from the legacy of Margaret Wendt is the Genesee Gateway block between Oak and Ellicott Streets. In 2009, this area was in near ruins. Compounding the problem was the fact that this long vacant eyesore of a collection of boarded-up old buildings in downtown Buffalo was the entry point for thousands of workers, residents, and visitors each day, and had become a distressing symbol for decades of the city's ills. With the National Preservation Conference scheduled for 2011, the Foundation invested millions of dollars in the restoration of the block's historic buildings dating from the 1840s to 1915 to ensure that the first view of Buffalo's downtown included a positive image as well as historic preservation. Just southeast of Buffalo and East Aurora lies the Roycroft Inn. It was opened in 1905 as part of the Roycroft campus to accommodate the artisans and visitors who were looking to experience the American arts and crafts movement. Unfortunately, by the early 80s, the inn was in bankruptcy, and the remaining precious furniture and artifacts were to be sold at auction in New York City and Boston. Enter the Margaret L. Wendt Foundation, which stepped in, preventing the auction, and with a grant of $500,000, partnered with the Landmark Society of Western New York and Rochester to reopen the inn with the goal of creating an engine for heritage tourism in Western New York. But that was just the beginning. With additional support from the foundation, the inn underwent a meticulous $8 million restoration over a 9-year period to return it to its original splendor, reopening for guests in 1995. The Margaret L. Wendt Foundation has been a major supporter of preservation of the entire Roycroft campus, including providing funds to help acquire and preserve important buildings like the chapel, powerhouse, and copper shop. Over the last half-century, the Margaret L. Wendt Foundation has become a national model for using historic preservation to revitalize communities. Additional Wendt Foundation projects include Western New York Heritage Magazine, the Albright Knox Art Gallery, Buffalo's Olmsted Parks Conservancy, Frank Lloyd Wright's Graycliff, the Preservation League of New York State, as well as a highly creative and revolutionary reuse of a building in the creation of the King Urban Life Center at St. Mary's of Sorrows Church. The philosophy of the foundation has always been that the future is built on what was given to us in the past. Margaret Wendt has given us her vision and tradition of friendship and trust. Today, the trustees of the Margaret L. Wendt Foundation honor her legacy through their support of the community she loved and the places, institutions, and organizations that make it great. Elbert Hubbard, Roycroft's founder, could have been speaking of Margaret Wendt when he said, "One great, strong, unselfish soul in every community could actually redeem the world." Congratulations to the Margaret L. Wendt Foundation as this year's Pillar of New York.